drop. Am I doing something wrong?
Service record of Ian D. Long. He was in the Marine Corps. The Marines have given us some information about him. Confirmation now that he did serve in Afghanistan in 2010, from 2010 to 2011. He received a number of accommodations: Navy Unit Commendation, Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation, Combat Action Ribbon, Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, and it goes on and on. He was highly decorated as a U.S. Marine, but what he brought back with him potentially was PTSD. That's what's going to be part of the examination here. He clearly was suffering from something, because there have been some incidents with him. We heard the sheriff talking about a mental evaluation, and they let him go, left him there because he passed the evaluation. However, he was edging towards the edge, and because Miriam talked to neighbors who said that they have seen some behavior as well, that perhaps there were some warning signs there, and so many vets suffer from PTSD. What they bring back from putting their lives on the line overseas, it's a tremendous burden on them, and we do need to give the vets more help.
Right, it's very tragic, because it obviously had a very serious mental problem there happening, and now all these people that were in that nightclub also will suffer from PTSD. I heard, I don't know if this is confirmed, but that some of those people were actually at the shooting in Las Vegas, country music fans, and that is a big night there at Borderline Bar and Grill.
Right. There are some similarities here when it comes to the country music scene, what these people enjoy. Also, I didn't want to say it, but as we try to evaluate and come to some conclusion on a motive, there's a chance that we don't find a motive in this. Maybe something just happened that caused him to want to do this, just like we don't have a motive in the Las Vegas shooting. All those people were killed, and the families desperately want to know why he did it, but they may never find out. We just covered the anniversary of that shooting, and in being there and meeting the family members, that's the one thing they tell you that drives them absolutely mad, is they don't have a reason why they lost their loved one.
Exactly, and no clues in that
right.
instance. We're going to go to Mark Cota-Robles right now. I believe that Mark has been covering the Los Robles Medical Center. Is that where you are, Mark?
Yeah, this is Los Robles Medical Center. We've been here since 2 this morning, and we've certainly seen things kind of change from the initial response of having sheriff's deputies and the medical examiner's office, those vehicles staged outside of the ER. Those vehicles have now left, and now we're kind of staging for the procession. We're just about an hour away. At 10 a.m., Sergeant Rod Helis's body will be taken from the hospital here in Thousand Oaks up to the medical examiner's office in Ventura. I spoke earlier this morning to a Ventura County Sheriff's deputy about that thought process, to plan for something like this happening but not being fully prepared. Take a listen.
We always keep in the back of our minds that this could happen any day. That's just the nuts and bolts of law enforcement. The law enforcement family, the community here in Ventura County is coming together as a family and helping support each other. And part of this procession is it's going to be honoring Ron and the legacy that he leaves. This procession, again, as you mentioned, set for 10 a.m. It will leave Los Robles Hospital. There will be those road closures associated with it. Will they be rolling closures? The Highway 101, will there be an impact there as well? I anticipate this to be a fluid transition from Los Robles up to Ventura. And I believe that the impact on the roadways, especially the 101 northbound, will be minimal. We're talking outside of regular commuter traffic, so 10 o'clock is a good time to move up that way. Respecting the investigation, I know I cannot ask you anything about that. We're going to leave that to the command post, but as an individual, as a co-worker, how are you dealing? Ron was my former supervisor out here in Thousand Oaks, and I was my supervisor in the custody. He's a great man, and I was honored to be able to work with him. As a public information officer for the Sheriff's Department, I asked you earlier about the victims here. You can't provide much. Can you tell us anything? I know people did come here. I don't know the number of people here or the extent of their injuries.
Okay, what's next? We're watching and waiting.
The investigation continues down at the borderline, and on this end of the operation, we're going to get Ron up to the medical examiner's office and start that part of the grieving process.
Certainly a hero. We heard from the sheriff over at the command post well over an hour ago. He and that CHP officer, they were the first to enter.
He truly lived as he died, and he is a hero in my book and a lot of sheriff's deputies out here.
And now back out live, ladder truck 44 from Ventura County Fire has arrived here outside Los Robles Medical Center, outside the ER, where they will remove and transport the body of Sergeant Ron Helis. That will happen at 10 a.m. And of course, we are going to bring that to you live. Now, following up from that interview that we had earlier this morning regarding the additional victims, along with those who were killed in this shooting, we are now told since that interview that there are as many as 25 victims who were injured. That information coming from the Ventura County Fire Department. Of those, we know many were brought to this hospital, Los Robles Medical Center, on the north side of Highway 101, about 2.5 miles from the shooting scene. And we do know that many of those people were brought here under their own care by friends or family members. They hopped into cars, did not wait for help from first responders. And if there's any good news, is that many of those people who were injured, who came to this location to receive help, had minor injuries. That's according to Sheriff Jeff Dean from an earlier press conference. The sheriff who is retiring tomorrow at midnight. All of this happening before the holidays and before he leaves a department that he has led for so very many years. And again, we're going to have that procession for you both on the ground and from Air 7 HD coming up in about an hour. David, Ellen, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, that is remarkable. Mark, thank you for that report. Great work out there. In the meantime, yeah, the sheriff, he's retiring. What an incredible day for him, a tragic day for him to leave his job with such a despicable situation.
Right, and
at
to lose
crime.
his friend.
And in case you're curious, the new Ventura sheriff will be Bill Ayub. He is the acting assistant sheriff, so he knows this situation as well. He knows the people involved here. He's not brand new to the scene. Of course, he is a highly skilled veteran that will be taking over for Sheriff Jeff Dean. In the meantime, we want to show you the gunman.
Sure. Do we need to do a sound check? Is this good? So Tim will be standing here. He probably won't be pacing around much beyond the bounds of this lectern. So if this sound is good for everyone, we should all be good. Okay? Good? All right. We'll be getting started here in just a few minutes.
That's nice to hear. Same team.
Everybody knows that.
Election night okay for you guys? Long on.
Okay, so all that's to do is take a budget. Oh, okay.
I work in smaller spaces.
I'll give you a couple inches. I got some to spare.
All right, good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Tim Garrison, and it's my privilege to serve as the United States Attorney for the Western District of Missouri. And I'm joined today by several members of our investigative team. To my right is Captain Scott Sturmer, who is the commanding officer of the Upper Mississippi River Sector of the United States Coast Guard. David Mills, the resident agent in charge of the Coast Guard Investigative Service, St. Louis office. Lieutenant Scott Sater and Sergeant Jason Pace, of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Chief Jeff Matthews of the Branson, Missouri Police Department. Matt Selby, the prosecuting attorney of Stone County, Missouri. And from my office, Supervisory Assistant United States Attorney Randy Eggert and Assistant United States Attorney Casey Clark. We are here today to announce the first criminal indictment related to the sinking of a vessel on Table Rock Lake in southwest Missouri, resulting in the tragic loss of 17 lives. This morning, a federal grand jury seated in Springfield, Missouri, returned an indictment against Kenneth Scott McKee, who is the captain of a vessel dubbed Stretch Duck 7, which sank during a storm on Table Rock Lake in July. The indictment alleges 17 counts of a violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1115, which is formally titled Misconduct or Neglect of Ship Officers, which is sometimes colloquially referred to as seaman's manslaughter. Each of the 17 counts in this indictment represents a life that was lost when Stretch Duck 7 sank while being piloted by Mr. McKee. Specifically, the indictment alleges that on or about July 19, 2018, on Table Rock Lake, which is a navigable water of the United States within the Western District of Missouri and within the Admiralty jurisdiction of the United States, that the defendant, Kenneth Scott McKee, while piloting, operating, and navigating Stretch Duck 7 as captain, pilot, and master of said vessel, committed several acts of misconduct, negligence, and inattention to duty. Now, I'm not going to read each allegation against Mr. McKee verbatim, but I would like to paraphrase them for you this morning. To summarize, the indictment alleges that Mr. McKee failed to properly assess incoming severe weather, both prior to and after entering the water, Table Rock Lake. That he entered the vessel on the water while there was severe weather, including high winds and lightning approaching the area. The indictment alleges that McKee operated Stretch Duck 7 in violation of the conditions and limitations specified in the vessel's United States Coast Guard issued certificate of inspection. And specifically, he operated the vessel in weather which generated wind speeds and wave heights which exceeded those for which this particular vessel was rated. Further, he failed to instruct his passengers to don their personal flotation devices during the severe weather while Stretch Duck 7 was on the water. He failed to immediately increase the speed and make the most direct path to shore when severe weather arrived. He either caused or allowed the vessel's side curtains to be lowered and failed to raise them when severe weather arrived while the vessel was on the water. And again, failed to raise the side curtains, failed to instruct his passengers to don their personal flotation devices, and failed to prepare to abandon ship after each of 2 separate soundings of the vehicle's bilge alarms. And then finally, he failed to prepare to abandon ship when there was an unacceptable loss of freeboard, that being the distance from the surface of the water to the deck of the vessel. Failed to prepare to abandon ship when there was an acceptable loss of freeboard. The grand jury further alleges that McKee's acts of misconduct, negligence, and inattention to duty contributed to or caused the destruction of the lives of 17 people aboard Stretch Duck 7. A violation of this particular statute is a Class C felony under the United States Code, and a conviction under this statute carries with it a range
Nothing new. I told Alan to pull some more sound. He's looking for that lightning back. Unless you guys don't want it, but I mean, it's great stuff.
SCHOW. He's right there with your guy.
Yeah, just let me know what it is and I'll toss it.
Eric, ERIC. Yep. I've been calling him and he hasn't picked up, so I don't know if his phone is dead or if, yeah. Let's check it.
I think it's okay. Amigo, gracias. Gracias.
All the different agencies and assistants.
Are they gone now?
No, they're still there right now. Evidence tech. Evidence tech's been there.
Crime scene technicians.
Yeah. Forensic site. Yeah, it's forensic. I mean, they're. Yeah, what's it called?
Okay, I'll wait.
David gets you next.
David gets me next.
You thought I forgot. I didn't know. As bad as I am, I didn't know. Okay. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Quiero tenerte, a ver si puedo tener a Miguel González Pechero. Sí.
We're wrapping up and coming to us.
Palmo, venite, Palmo. ¿Aquí? Sí. Acá dentro.
Ya estamos.
Just tell me who it is. Is it Matt? Absolutely, it's the wisdom of children. It's the wisdom of this entire community because they know they will need to lean on others to get through this.
Buenos días, así es, 12 minutos pasan ya de las 9 de la mañana en la costa oeste, precisamente en la parte oeste, 10 de la mañana, en este lado del país, en el costa oeste. Comienza ya esta procesión para transportar el cuerpo de sargento. Para dar más detalles sobre esta procesión, ahí está nuevamente el oficial Miguel González,
We have about 730
nuevamente el objetivo
said he prevented another tragedy. And so that our training comes in handy. Our training was effective. Sergeant Lewis was a hero. That's exactly what we want to do. This is a great again. You don't know what with us too. That many this is last night. Sergeant Lewis and many others of the future came together Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. Signed up. And Sergeant Lewis was a hero yesterday. And we have a lot of heroes that we're standing in with the badge. And he's there for us. And we're there for them.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I know you're busy answering the phone. So many calls coming through. As you get updates, please share.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Ventura County Sheriff's deputies really having a rough go at it. They are, on one hand, preparing for the procession and to honor a fallen colleague. On the other hand, they are doing a job they have to do. As you heard Captain mention, the forensics technicians are inside the venue right now, working together, documenting everything as it is. During the Sheriff's News Conference, I touched on what these suspects have been wearing. Also heard some versions, some people said it was in a long coat. The sheriff could only remember that he was wearing a black sweater. One of the young men that I spoke with was inside and saw this man start shooting, taking out his first and second victims. Told me that he'd never seen it before. He tried to get a good look at his face, but in that split second, he could not get a good view. He thought he had a hood up over his head that kind of the way he was positioned made it impossible for him to see. And the next thing he wanted to do was just get out of there, get to safety. He told a story of people yelling at people to get out there and then telling them, you've got to go this way, you've got to go out. All of them running out and climbing over the fence to get to safety. Some of them not believing that the active shooter was inside of the building until later they realized my friend is not standing beside me. My friend is there in the midst of
Mike, I don't know where he is.
He's in the satellite truck.
He's not near us.
Nowhere close to us. Yeah, it's not close.
It's nowhere near us.
Hey, Renee. Yeah, I was just there. I didn't take me. He's closer to Carlos.
You see the black?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
so I see the
Yes.
yeah.
Let me count them all. Thank you. What is it? Is it SUV or just a small?
De blanco.
Estoy frente a Borderline Garden.
Ahí tengo los investigadores y el carro también, ¿ok? En el video, en la cámara, ¿ok?
Estoy donde está Salvador.
I was wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, they kid. It's super good, this kind of.
John Jack Ferron, Gigi. Hey, patron.
Really? He's
Gigi.
He's the boss?
No, no.
He's gone now. Yeah.
My Marina Galar.
Okay, now, when I met those guys in 1987,
I was working for Channel 2.
Okay.
And the
But I
video
was
was
working
coming.
in Central America.
Yes, but the video was coming to Miami. I was cutting, editing, and then sending to Washington.
Before,
yes.
It is Big News.
Yes.
That's when Erico Sascano and the guys in Nicaragua.
I know everybody there because I've been working in Miami. All the casetas from South and Central America used to come to Miami.
Which year?
85 to 90.
80. Do you know Godofredo? Because it's a WSPN. That's 18 hours.
My name's Andy Fox. I'm mayor of the city of Thousand Oaks. I'm joined with virtually all the community leaders here in Thousand Oaks and Ventura County, sharing and praying for the victims of this tremendous tragedy that we suffered here last night. Right now, the city is focused on working closely with our law enforcement partners, fire department, the FBI, and the agencies that are going to be responsible for investigation of this incident. On the city side, we want to talk about four primary things. First and foremost, as all of you know, several people lost their lives last night, and so now is the time for community prayers and sympathy, and our thoughts go out to the family. It's my understanding that notifications are still taking place. So last night and today is going to be a very, very difficult day for many, many people. So as a community, we come together here in Thousand Oaks, and we are going to be sending our thoughts and prayers through our faith-based organizations to those who are affected by this terrible tragedy. On that, we'll be having a community vigil tonight here at our Civic Center. It's going to be at City Hall at 6 o'clock. At the Fred Kavli Theater. And we're inviting everybody in the community that wants to come pay their respects, prayers, and thoughts for the family to come. That's at the Kavli Center at 6 o'clock at the Civic Center. Also, several people were injured in last night's shooting. So a blood drive is very, very important. We're getting calls from the community on how to give blood, where to give blood. It's very important. Let me be clear. We do need blood donations. It also has to be coordinated. And so we're working with areas here in Thousand Oaks where we can set up blood banks where people can donate blood. The amount that we're talking about makes it required that we have a fixed facility and not just a mobile blood bank that comes in. And so when we get that information, we will share it with you, but I do want to communicate to the community, our local area hospitals need blood to help treat the wounded from last night's shooting. Finally, if anybody has an interest in donating to help the victims of this incident, I want you to be able to contact the Ventura County Community Foundation. That's vccf.org. And they have a website, and they will be able to lead you to how you can make a donation to the families who suffered such a tremendous loss. So again, we're here as a community. We're mourning the loss of a gigantic tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go to the families. I want to thank the first responders for the great job they did last night in taking quick action, stabilizing the incident, assessing it, getting the wounded to area hospitals. We could not be prouder of our sheriff's officers and our firefighters and our allied agencies. With that, I can answer any questions you might have.
Clarify something, because the last press conference, half hour, 45 minutes ago, the councilman said that no notifications have taken place, and you said no
my understanding that the notification process for the next of kin is taking place today. There's a number of people that, as you know, lost their lives, and it's not a simple process. Getting a hold of people, we try to do it in person many times, and so my understanding is that notification process is taking place today.
But it hasn't started?
It has started.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, all the people in area hospitals, have they been all connected?
I don't know about the injured with respect to have they been unified with their families. It's my understanding it's a protocol that calls do go out, notifications are made for both the people that lost their lives and people that were injured.
Mr. Mayor, this has been known as the safest city in America, or one of them, and now it's making national headlines for something so tragic. Do you have any words that you want to say to the community right now as it grieves with so many of the victims and their families?
The folks that moved to Thousand Oaks and lived at Thousand Oaks, they live here primarily because it is a safe community. It was safe last night and it is safe today. I think we all recognize that these type of incidents and these tragedies can occur anywhere at any time, even in a town as safe as Thousand Oaks. The fact of the matter is, if somebody wants to go out and do damage and harm others, there's very little that can be done. And so, again, there'll be a time and a place to talk about security and those things, but today, our thoughts and prayers have to be with the victims and with their families and with those that were injured.
Have you had an opportunity to interact with any of the families that were inside?
I have not. This is a dynamic situation. I'm not aware that family members are here. My senses are probably with other family members. We did identify a family unification location, as you guys are aware, and but I have not personally met with any of the victims' families yet.
Mike, I'm going to try to get my time.
1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Okay, very good. And you'll be off by 34:30, yes? Oh, of course you will. Very good. Thanks. I'm going to stay on with you. A lot of multitasking, but I'm used to it, so it's all good. I'm convinced when you go to school, you have to get that flu shot. I won't let this kid come home. You can get
Right.
flu, you're not bringing it to my house.
For sure.
Yeah,
They,
exactly.
I don't have that number.
So is there a separate center where family members are being notified?
I believe this is the main location where we're trying to get everybody to come in and do the notifications. So with that, we're gonna end our briefing. We will, through our public information officers, let you guys know when we can do an update. And thank you very much. And again, our thoughts and prayers go to the victims and their families. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Andy, what time was the vigil?
6 p.m.
6
Doors
o'clock.
open at 5.
6 o'clock.
Okay, that is
Again, the visual tonight, 6 o'clock at the Fed Cavalry Theater. It's open to the public, and 6 o'clock.
2100
And
Boulevard.
if you want to make a contribution, that's the Ventura County Community Foundation, vccf.com.
.org.
Fred Cavalry Theater.
Andy Fox,
And so they're trying, while they're here, to organize a massive blood representation. It's said that the 22 people who were injured in this shooting, the hospitals let the city know they need blood. The mayor was here. From the angle I was sitting at, with the entire city council. I'll show you the scene here for those of you who have not been broadcasting live. This is what's called the Reunification Center. And this is where the leaders have been coming. And so this is where, unfortunately, they're spreading the unfortunate news, of course, that not everybody made it. And notifying those family members. So we'll keep posted here. Again, if you want to attend at vigil 6 o'clock tonight. And that will be at the Civic Center. I have a feeling after talking about people who live here, talking about it, if there's ever any conversion later.
Meanwhile, here at the scene, one of the county sheriff's deputies needs help too. This is great because they're really struggling to find their sergeants to like the situation. Having processed it, so busy having everybody's kind of been scrambling. We don't know. So there are a lot of these so they could be coming to the college and some of the heroes this morning. I know that on a work priority like that, was in a situation, some of the shooters of the man was able to recognize what was happening. Unfortunately, the shooter had his back to him. During that time, he was able to smash out a window and yell, "This was a big difference out of that night." As all of this was a hard one to this one. Right now, I'm thinking about what's happening here in the moment, and thinking about the families, and thinking about the heartache of our community. We need to think about that policy, but that's I'm not thinking about that today. I'm just thinking about our community, victims, his wife, his son. We all know. So that's it's just it's shocking. I was shocked. As I said, I know these things have happened. It's just because the government seems to focus on one side. Of course, responsibility. That's my chance to get out. I would have to imagine that that's any way I can. But I wish people in my community would know that I'm present. I'm here. As for the crime scene, any way that I mess it is taking hours by information. No, I'm grateful that we're here. I just very, very significant. I actually said so that's how they just very significant. So I know veterans every day of my existence, not only for our veterans here in Upstate County, we have very hard issues. So I know that here in the county, obviously it's across the nation. So again, I want to know exactly what happened in Alabama about mental health issues. I think the veterans really is
I'm the holder of cards. Yes. Can you hear me? Do you want me to try to, you want to just do the sound bite? Okay. You want to push down the street?
Yep. I have a tow truck as well.
Okay.
They're all watching each other.
You're going to push into the car? Is it on a tow truck or flatbed or now?
Flatbed now, yeah.
What is it? What is it?
someone on the flatbed with a white suit. Oficial.
Good morning. So many hours have passed by, but it just seems like all of this happened just moments ago.
Okay, ¿en cuánto tiempo? ¿En cuánto tiempo?
The scene here on the ground. I want you to take a look. Naked. The vehicle that is now on that flatbed, and we believe that is the suspect in David Long's vehicle. Very least, the vehicle that he arrived with Willpower Motion from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department. And yes, we still are talking to people who have friends that they're looking for are just simply
Tener preparado el banner del sheriff, que es Miguel González, ya está ahí en los banners, Miguel González. Por si lo logro agarrarlo, Miguel González, Departamento de la Organización de Ventura. Ya está ahí, ya está ahí.
If you were by chance monitoring our coverage when the sheriff was talking and discussing the suspect, what we know about him, you heard that he was a former Marine and there was some talk about possibly having issues with PTSD. Well, this congresswoman deals with veterans every day. She said mental health and veterans is something that's an issue that they have to address. She also said, yes, there will be water legislation and how to this.
Gracias Alejandra, Sandra, pues ya prácticamente quedan 15 minutos para que denuncies la procesión y el cuerpo de seguimiento que fue a ser preparado. Estamos aquí con la investigación de la
It's some kind of
complex has to do with it?
Yeah, maybe like a Colorado.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a RAV4 or something.
It's more likely as a truck, no SUV. They still checking the cars.
Oh, okay.
Ya como el oficial González, ya se está acercando a este punto porque tiene precisamente hablar de otros temas de temas para darnos a otro punto de vista más cercano. Gracias nuevamente oficial por estar con nosotros.
You can see on the right side of the tree like a long bed.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the smaller trucks. It's like Colorado.
Yeah.
Reuters Live Service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters Live Service.
They said 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, so, okay.
Is there, I guess, the concern of overflow? Is it outdoors? Is it indoors?
It's a large indoor performing arts center, and so we'll certainly have people there to accommodate as many as possible. I think it's 1,800 seats.
Okay.
Let me ask our local, 18 or 24. Is it Kathleen? Do you know how big it is at 18 or 2,400?
They wanted to interview him, and I was at the office 24.
Say around 2,000, yeah, maybe around 2,000.
About 2,000 people. I like that. Good job.
We can find a. So we'll ask you about that. Obviously, ask what the community's dealing with and what you want to do in the next 24 hours as mayor for the city. What's your goal? I can Miriam wrapping right now, so stand by. This has been since 11 p.m. This hasn't ended. I can't. Have you been able to go down to the location? Have you been down there?
I was there last night. You might have heard, just retired as a assistant fire chief for the LA Fire Department.
Oh, I didn't know you retired as a fire chief.
I just came from my retirement party and I got the call.
Do you mind if I ask you about that?
Wrap it up, dude. Okay, it's unrelated.
No, I know, but you went down. You went down there. Okay.
So then I went right to the command post.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I won't. Yeah, we will have to get into those details, but you were near the scene and you went. Here we go. Or we're not. Come on, Miriam.
No,
You got to tell her too. Here we go. Yes, hello there, Ellen and David. I'm with Mayor Andy Fox joining us after that press conference we had here at the Reunification Center moments ago. You've been inside, you're speaking with deputies, and tell me first, sir, how the community is trying to come to grips with this.
Well, as you may expect, this has really been a shock to everybody here in the community, and we're convening all the agencies. There's an investigative law enforcement aspect of this, or making sure that we're developing a blood drive for the victims who were able to survive last night's incident. We want to be able to bring the community together, so tonight we're having a vigil at the Civic Center, the Kavli Theater. The prayer vigil's at 6 o'clock. All are welcome, and so we're going to have sufficient people there to manage as many people as possible, and we're going to start the healing process. It's very soon. I've lived in Thousand Oaks well over 30 years, and I know this is a caring community, and there's no doubt in my mind that the families that were involved in this incident are going to get tremendous support from the city of Thousand Oaks.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll send it back to you in the studio.
No.
Mayor,
Tell them what you got. Tell them what you got.
Oh, stand by. Stand by. We have a moment here to go ahead and take this presser live.
Tell me when I can go.
Cody.
Get the mic. Get the mic.
You all know that I was been here fighting for him all morning long. And we did just get the news that he was one of the 11 that were hit and killed last night.
Tell us his name.
His name was Cody Kaufman. My firstborn son. Only him and I know how much I love, how much I miss him. Oh, son, I love you so much. Oh, Heavenly Father, just please.
What would you like us to know about Cody?
Cody was the big brother that my kids need. I have a daughter coming on the 29th of this month that he was so excited to have his first sister, and not now the children. Oh, Cody, I love you so much. And I just want to thank everybody that let me get out this morning just to put his face on the news. That this is going to be an absolute heart-wrenching time for me and my family. I just want to say thank you to every one of you. KTLA 5, thank you. Fox 11, everybody. I watch you and I love you guys, and I just want to pray for everybody else that is going to be going through the same situation. There's many more to come, but for me, this is a heart that I'll never get back. I'll never get back.
Your son was going to serve his country, wasn't he?
My son was on his way to fulfilling his dream of serving the country. Yeah. He just turned 22. He was talking to recruiters and doing this thing that he had to do to become part of the military. Yeah, in the Army. To me, his outgoing love for everybody, his outgoing love for his baseball team. He was a head umpire for the Camarillo Pony Baseball League. I mean, there were so many people that he touched, and now are going to be just as heartbroken as I am.
Was he the hero like you thought he was?
He stayed behind. Yeah, he stayed behind. We don't know anything. They just told us that he was pronounced dead on the scene.
Jason, you spoke to us early this morning, and you said you were here because your wife was at home and she would not be able to bear the stress of being out here. Talk to us about
Yeah,
your
she's
family.
all the family. She's here. Cody's mom is here as well. They have no. They can't come out. I talked to you all this morning, and I thought it was my honor and my duty to come up and let you guys know that that we found him.